Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. And sometimes I feel silly asking you about Conor McGregor, but he is right there. He is, you know, and you're still in the title picture. So why would you be thinking about Conor McGregor? But it would be a really fun fight. I know you've wanted it in the past. So
yeah, it'd be a fun fight. I mean, getting one back against everybody who got one over me would be awesome. So yeah, thank you.
I don't think he can make 55. I don't think he wants to, but we can fight whatever weight he wants. I want to get down back. It'd be a fun fight, I think. Conor's not gonna shoot. I hope so, not. But never seen ever.
Conor McGregor is in a very unique spot because of the success that he has previously had. We are questioning how good is Conor today. We're questioning how good can he be today. He's coming off a catastrophic injury. Many people forget that. His leg is broken in two. He then does 6 years on the shelf. So we question how good he is, but we've got to operate under the assumption that he's pretty damn good, considering he won an interim and undisputed and went 30 minutes with Floyd. Like, we have to assume, based on what he's done before.
Whoa!
I mean, did he just say like the Conor and the Gary, like, you know, both
Say
of them?
Conor
Or?
and Gary fight.
But he did say Conor Gary fight. Yeah.
Yes, which is an amazing fight.
If they did actually Conor and dude, that'd be insane. But didn't he just say? Did it not? Could it not be?
He said
just,
he didn't say Conor and Gary. He said Conor Gary.
I know, but if he's just talking like the Conor,
I don't
Gary,
know,
yeah.
dude. He said the Conor Gary fight. He didn't say Conor and Gary won't fight in Ireland. He said the Conor Gary fight won't happen in Ireland.
If that was a slip, then that's an actual real slip.
Love it.
If that's legit. So hopefully that is the actual Conor fight. That would be freaking.
That's why they're not calling him, huh?
Yeah. And then this also appeared too.
Ooh, it's all lining up, y'all.
Conor McGregor officially cleared for UFC return after
Let's
completing
go.
18-month ban.
Let's go.
So I mean, it's heading that direction.
Max Holloway just called out Conor McGregor. And based on what I'm seeing behind the scenes, this isn't just another call-out for attention. This is the spark that's lighting a fire under the biggest comeback story in MMA right now. Because here's what nobody else is telling you. McGregor is training harder than he has in years, moving sharper than ever, and sources close to his camp are saying a summer return is basically guaranteed at this point.
5 is looking really busy at the top, so we'll see what happens. I don't know what guys they want to send my way, but like I said, man, before the fight I was talking about it. I mean, Conor's there, you know. Conor got one over me. He's talking about coming back. I'm coming off a loss. I mean, it looked pretty fun to get down back, you know, with him. So we'll see what happens. I know a lot of people are worried about the weight and this and that, but if he doesn't want to cut weight, then I don't want to cut weight. We can do it at any weight, to be honest. It's just about getting it back, you know. So at the end of the day, that'll be a fun fight, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what way UFC wants to go, and that's all we can do, you know. Like I said, I got a bunch of things that I need to talk to my team, my family members, with my doctors too. So we're figuring all that out. But hey, man, you know, sign me up, man. If 55 is kind of busy right now, we don't know who to pick. I know Conor keep talking about coming back. That'd be a fun fight, you know. That fight really excites me, and weight wouldn't be.
But here's where it gets interesting. Holloway didn't just throw McGregor's name out there randomly. This call-out came right after his devastating loss to Charles Oliveira, when most fighters would be licking their wounds and talking about taking time off. Instead, Max is doubling down, saying he wants to settle old scores and prove that his losses don't define him. And get this, he's willing to fight McGregor at any weight, anywhere, without worrying about cutting down. That's not desperation talking. That's a man who sees an opportunity to change his entire legacy with one fight.
Max is a very smart guy. All the talk was, oh, you lost the belt. Charles isn't getting that Conor fight after that fight. I don't even think Conor wants a BMF title. I think Max is trying to tell us something there. And I would put him with Nate out. It feels to me like he's trying to tell us, like, this is what I want. And I don't think he's talking if things aren't happening behind the scenes. And so that's what I feel by reading all of this. But as PT said, and as I said, these talks are going well. And I think they're going well because the UFC recognizes, hey, we need to make this happen. And we'll get into the John Jones stuff in a second as well. But I feel like we're trending in the right direction to that return. And this will feel like, what will it feel like? What's the perfect example for feeling good about life? Like, it'll feel like what? Like, what is it?
Now listen to this part, because Ariel Helwani just dropped some major intel on his show. He's saying that Holloway is playing this perfectly, sending all the right signals to the UFC without being too obvious about it. According to Helwani's sources, talks are already moving in the right direction behind the scenes, and everyone at UFC headquarters knows this fight has to happen. They're not just looking at this as another bout to fill a card. They're looking at this as the kind of moment that could electrify the entire sport and make McGregor's return feel absolutely monumental.
I feel like we've been kind of talking about it, but I think the significant reality is, let's say Conor McGregor is coming back in July. That is fantastic for the UFC, no doubt in my mind. But I think the bigger issue, rather than card construction, rather than who's headlining, is ticket prices.
Oh, yeah.
The prices of these cards are not commensurate with what they're delivering. And I don't think you can solve that just... The Conor McGregor ticket prices are going to be astronomical. And the UFC is going to try to capitalize on Conor McGregor's return in a way that is pricing out fans who just want to come and watch UFC events, want to come and watch these fights. I don't think that the problem was necessarily that, like, people didn't want to show out for Lerone Murphy or MVP or anybody else who was on this card. The problem is that they were too expensive for the people that truly wanted to go. And I don't think this is a new thing for the UFC. I'm talking to people who are in this local area, who I know very well, who are interested in going to the New Jersey card, and the ticket prices are too high for them to go. I don't know if just stacking the deck...
It's a WWE problem too. I'm hearing about this in WWE, right? With WrestleMania tickets and whatnot. People are complaining about this, so...
But wait, it gets more complicated. The same panel that's hyping up McGregor's July return is also worried about something nobody wants to talk about: ticket prices. They're pointing out that fans are desperate to see these fights live, but costs have become so astronomical that regular people are getting priced out completely. We're talking about tickets that cost more than some people's rent, especially when McGregor headlines. And here's the kicker. It's not that fans don't want to see rising stars like Lerone Murphy or MVP on the undercard. It's that the UFC has created a system where only the wealthy can afford to witness history in person.
Is coming back. Guys, I'm very confident of this. I spoke to Conor myself. Adi Atara went and had a meeting, a face-to-face sit-down with the UFC, because it got to the point where Conor's side is saying, hey, do you guys not think we're serious? Or is it you guys aren't serious? There's a little confusion here over the telephone. Let's talk, right? Conor's coming back. I think it's important that you understand up front, not just that Conor's not going to fight Michael Chandler, but why Conor's not going to fight Michael Chandler. Now, look, the UFC has a brand promise. And like any great company, they will stick to that promise in good times and in bad. When you're selling out arenas, when COVID hits and you can't do it in front of everybody, you got to stick to that promise. And the UFC does. Now, how does that pertain to Conor? Conor McGregor is in a very unique spot because of the success that he has previously had. We are questioning how good is...
Here's where things get really wild, though. Chael Sonnen just went on record saying he's spoken directly with McGregor, and the seriousness in Conor's voice convinced him this comeback is absolutely happening. But here's the twist. It's not going to be against Michael Chandler like everyone expected. According to Sonnen, this isn't about McGregor being reluctant to fight Chandler. This is about the UFC sticking to their brand promise and delivering fights the right way. And remember, we're talking about a guy coming off a horrific leg injury that snapped his tibia and fibula in half. Most people still don't understand how massive that obstacle is for any comeback attempt.
So if we're going to stick to the brand promise and we're going to bring in Conor McGregor, who we identify as very good, and by the way, we do know to be a main eventer. We know that we're going to put him in a main event. Then we must put him... And basically, you could choose, by the way, guys, I'm going to say 1 through 6. You could even go 1 through 8. Pick anybody you want to do. Della Manalena makes a lot of sense. I think that Ian Gary was more than a Freudian slip. I think that there's some real traction and some real legs to that. I don't think the idea of Islam and title fights is going to happen. I don't believe that Max is going to bump up and we're going to pay one off for history's sake. I think Conor is likely to be put into a spot, and I'll use Anderson Silva as a great example, who is the best fighter in the world, the champion of the world, had the exact same catastrophic leg injury, attempted to make a comeback. And it was an interesting position because Anderson was great, and Anderson had the rankings, and he had the name, he had the meaning, and he was a main event guy. But he wasn't a main event pay-per-view guy. Because those are...
And get this, Sonnen is explaining that if the UFC brings McGregor back, they're committed to giving him a main event spot, no questions asked. They're not going to bring back their biggest star just to stick him in a co-main event or treat him like any other fighter. But here's what's fascinating. While Dana White may have accidentally mentioned Ian Gary as a potential opponent, sources are saying that wasn't a finalized plan at all. What's confirmed is that McGregor wants to fight at 170 pounds, staying at his natural size instead of killing himself to make 155. Behind the scenes, the UFC even offered him a fight with Carlos Prates, probably expecting him to turn it down, but Conor shocked everyone by accepting immediately. But hold up, because Michael Bisping just explained why a McGregor-Diaz trilogy would be an even bigger draw than any of these other options. He's reminding everyone about those unforgettable wars they had, especially that first fight where Nate Diaz completely shocked the world by choking out the seemingly unstoppable McGregor. Then in the rematch, Diaz pushed Conor to his absolute limit, even forcing him to retreat and recover from fatigue in the middle of the octagon. Bisping is emphasizing that these weren't just fights. They were wars where every single strike mattered, from brutal leg kicks to devastating left hands that had both men on the edge of being finished. Now here's something crazy that Kamaru Usman just revealed. He's highlighting Carlos Prates as someone who could genuinely benefit from facing McGregor, praising him for how he handled his recent loss by going back to the lab and returning even stronger. Usman is noting that while everyone was focused on the Michael Chandler matchup for months, the landscape has completely shifted, and now they're looking for someone who can actually challenge McGregor and benefit from the massive exposure. For a fighter like Prates, stepping into the octagon with the most famous fighter in MMA history wouldn't just be huge for his career. It would be his chance to prove himself on the biggest stage possible. Following all this speculation, Brendan Schaub and his co-host just dissected the rumored Ian Gary matchup, calling it potentially amazing if it actually materializes. They're noting the confusion over whether Dana White's mention was an accidental slip or a deliberate hint, but they agree that if it's real, we're looking at an absolutely thrilling stylistic clash. The key detail everyone's focusing on is that McGregor has officially completed his 18-month suspension and is cleared for his UFC return, which means everything is trending toward this highly anticipated comeback actually happening this summer. But here's what really puts this all in perspective. Dustin Poirier recently reflected on how fighting McGregor completely transformed his entire career and recognition level. Despite years of headlining UFC events and fighting for titles, he admits it was stepping into the octagon with Conor that truly elevated his status and opened doors for seminars, appearances, and massive fan attention he never had before. That's the McGregor effect. One fight with him can completely change a fighter's trajectory and earning potential for the rest of their career. So there you have it. McGregor is training harder than ever, multiple opponents are being considered from Holloway to Gary to Prates, and a summer return is looking more realistic by the day. This isn't just about one comeback fight. This is about who's going to benefit from the biggest opportunity in combat sports and how it reshapes the entire landscape of their division. Here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Who do you think deserves to share the octagon with McGregor? And do you believe Dana accidentally revealed it's Ian Gary? Or is Max Holloway the perfect comeback opponent? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, smash that like button, subscribe for all the latest insider updates on Conor's return, and hit that notification bell because this comeback story is just getting started.